is just bizarre to me for rabbits, guinea pigs, etc. It's got a big picture of a rabbit there, so any new rabbit owner will go, oh, that looks great. They can't digest seeds, they can't digest nuts or cereals, and it literally says that on their own website. Now, this bit of advice is just downright wrong, and I don't know where they've got this information from at all. It just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever, so that's just completely incorrect. Honestly, I don't understand where they got that information from. Hello and welcome to today's video. So today's video I'm going to be focused on advice for your rabbit and where you can go and get it. So the reason why I've decided to do this video is as Christmas has just been and gone, I've noticed on the bunny Facebook groups I'm part of, we've got an influx of new bunny parents. A lot of them bought rabbits for their children, or partners bought them for Christmas, and they are really confused as to which advice to follow because there is just so much advice out there, and the place that they go to that is supposed to be the place to give them the best advice unfortunately isn't always providing that. So today we're going to look on the websites, and I've got some materials here as well from the two major pet shops here in the UK, so that's Jolly's and Pets at Home. Both of these two are probably the biggest pet chains. Pets at Home is probably the biggest one, and they both sell rabbits there as well, so the advice that they offer is the best. So you have these two leaflets that give it away for free at Pets at Home, and most of this information is also available on their website, and I'll show you where to get that from on the website as well. Now, what I'm going to be comparing these against are these leaflets. So these are from a charity called the Rabbit Welfare and Association Fund, I think, is it? Yeah, Rabbit Welfare Association and Fund. Now the reason why I'm referring everything to here is because this organisation is probably your go-to place for rabbit advice. They offer you advice on anything you could possibly need. Now I've got these leaflets from them because I'm a member, but you don't need to be a member to be able to get access the majority of this information because it is all online. But I do have this here, and I'm going to be referring back to this when we go through it. The first website that we're going to go on to is Pets at Home. So it's just loading up currently on my computer, but I will go through the pamphlets that I picked up today. This one here is one that I have mixed feelings about, but I want to start with a positive, so we're going to go on to this one. This is a really, really good starting place, but it's not a be-all and end-all, and there is still some information in here that you need to be a little bit careful with. The first thing that I really like about this one is that straight away it tells you that rabbits have a long lifespan. I think a lot of people assume that rabbits are going to live sort of maximum about 5 years, when in reality they can live up to 12. I think the longest rabbit life on record was 18 years, so it's similar to that of a cat. Another good thing that I like is that it does mention here that they are happier when they're in a neutered pair, which again is really good advice. Rabbits are much better off when they are kept in pairs, but it is better when they are both neutered. This massively reduces the likelihood of territorial fights, and it makes a much more stable bond. So that is good that it has that in there. Another nice thing on this front page is that right at the very bottom it actually has the information on how you can access the website for this organisation, which is fantastic again. Now we are coming to bits that they're not incorrect, but they definitely need a lot more information. with Home Sweet Home in this section here. So I'm also going to just to quickly pop up a little picture here of the graphics they have in store. It says that rabbits, whether they're kept indoor or outdoor, they need a lot of space and a big shelter and a spacious living area. It says it should be large enough for your rabbits to run, jump, explore, dig, graze, forage, play. For fun ideas, see Busy Bunnies section, which is in later on. All areas must be large enough for rabbits to stand on their hind legs without their ears touching the roof, turn around easily and to lie fully stretched out, and run and take several hops in a row. Now that isn't incorrect, but it's also way below sort of the bare minimum. So now let's go on to the website and see what the website says, see if it's any different to here. So this is the Pets at Home website. So when you're on the main page, you just click on Pet Advice, you scroll right down to the bottom, and you go to Small Pet. You scroll down to the bottom again and click on Rabbit. So now we're on the rabbit page. Let's just scroll down to see if they have any extra information that's not in this pamphlet. So caring for your rabbits need a large secure hutch and a run is absolute must. Again, not incorrect, but it doesn't really give you any information about the size specifications. So everything on there is pretty much the same information as that you'll find in here. In here as well, it's really good. It's got a good section here, time to eat. Feed your rabbits daily with a healthy, balanced, high fiber diet. A good guide is 80 to 85% hay, 5% nuggets, and 10 to 15% suitable fresh, washed, leafy greens or special dried forage plant foods. Again, that's good advice. Another good thing in here is you've got your checklist of are rabbits good for you? Again, lots of really good information in here, and it's good as a sort of starting point, but this isn't enough, unfortunately. And there is some information in here that I would be cautious with, I would say. The big one is obviously what I've spoken about already, is they've got this picture of this run and this hutch here. I've seen sort of this run and hutch for sale in Pets at Home, this model, and it is far too small, which is sort of point number one. Another point in here that you've just got to be cautious with, in this section of freshen up, it suggests either using a bottle or a bowl for rabbits, and a bottle generally isn't considered suitable for rabbits unless it's for medical reasons, and I will do a very silly sort of demonstration as to why. So let's imagine that this is the spout for the water bottle. Now a rabbit sort of normally sits like this, so their mouth is sort of, straight up from their neck, so they're really like this. And then but there's very, very rare that you'll find a water bottle that is at that angle. Water bottles are more likely to be at that angle. So you'll find the rabbit has to tilt their head all the way back, which puts a big amount of strain on that neck, and it makes it difficult for them to actually pull out all of the water. They like to lick a lot as well, and because they've got a little ball in the tube, as they lick, that can get caught in the ball and it can be quite painful. On top of this, it's very difficult to clean that ball that's inside the tube, and so a lot of bacteria can grow on that, and it's then unlikely to get enough water because first of all the hole is very small, and it's also very uncomfortable for them. With my two rabbits, I'm very fortunate, they don't knock over their water bowls, so I just have a big large tub in there, which works really well for us. But for most people, I know with rabbits, their rabbits do like to kick the water bowl and do like to move it around, so it is better to get like a heavy ceramic bowl, which it does mention in here, having a heavy bowl. So that part of the device, fantastic. Now so let's move on to this second leaflet, and I will tell you why I'm a little unsure about it. On here, It's got a lot of information sort of about different animals and what their genitalia looks like and how you can find out whether they're male or female. To be fair to them, it does say it's difficult to sex them, but female and male rabbits are very, very difficult to sex. And I feel like this information shouldn't really be in a leaflet like this, because if you mix it up and you get it wrong, you can get unwanted pregnancies, fights can break out. It's really, really important to know the sex of your rabbit, especially when it comes to pairing them up. The reason why it's still important when you've got a lone rabbit is because female rabbits have an 80% chance of getting uterine cancer, and this is reduced to 0 once they're spayed. A lot of people are very nervous about putting them under anaesthetic, and I completely understand that it is scary, especially when you do hear obviously that there are some rabbits that die. But to put it into comparison, a rabbit has a 4 to 5% chance of not making it through anaesthetic. Of course, that's still, 4 to 5% of rabbits that don't make it through, and that is very, very sad. But compare that to not going through anaesthetic. They then have a 20% chance of survival if they don't have the operation to begin with. And uterine cancer is very, very painful, and it's very difficult to treat once it's sort of in full swing. A lot of this is because rabbits are very good at hiding their pain, so you don't necessarily notice until it's too late, which is why following information in here is a little bit tricky, and it really should just be, they should really just be sexed by a vet rather than try and sex them yourself. The Jolly's advice is very, very lackluster, and there are a lot of things in here that I think, well, they're just incorrect. Okay, so the first thing, when you go on to what to feed your rabbit, if you scroll down, it's got fairly good advice. So could comprise of good quality hay or grass, that's great. Fresh drinking water, fantastic. You can supplement it with quality pellets and leafy vegetables, great. It talks about having carrots in small portions, again, good advice. Now, this bit of advice is just downright wrong, and I don't know where they've got this information from at all. So, how often should I feed my rabbit? Provide your rabbit with fresh hay and grass twice a day and place it away from their litter area, is the first line of how often should I feed my rabbit. And there's actually a fair amount wrong with that sentence. So if we say, just break it into 2 parts. So provide your rabbit with fresh hay and grass twice a day. Much like with pets at home, they're not wrong, but this isn't right either. Grass or hay should be available 24/7 to them. They should never be at a point where they don't have access to grass or hay. The twice a day bit, maybe you give them loads of hay in the morning before you go to work, and then you come home and you check it again, sort of maybe before you go to bed, if that wants to be your twice a day. Being honest, I don't generally need to fill up my hay for my rabbits more than maybe once a day, but that's just because in their room they have, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4 different places where they can get hay from, and they don't go through all of that in a day. It's completely different depending on what your setup is. You may need to do it several times throughout the day. Twice a day, okay, whatever. Like I said, there's no hard and fast rule about how often you should check it. You know what your setup is. You know how fast they eat them. The main point is, this very much sounds like you should give them 2 meals of hay and grass, and that's just not correct. Now, the second part of this sentence, and place it away from their litter area, is just bizarre to me, because rabbits love eating and defecating at the same time. So I really don't know where they got that advice from. And especially if you're trying to litter train your rabbits, putting their hay elsewhere, it just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. So that's just completely incorrect. Honestly, I don't understand where they got that information from. I mean, I don't give them their pellets in the litter box, and I don't give them their vegetables in the litter box. But that's just not what that sentence says. I don't know. That's like absolute basic rabbit 101. You put hay in their litter tray, or above their litter tray, or by their litter tray so they can eat and use the litter tray at the same time. Whatever. Okay. They will eat as much as you put in front of them, so don't provide too much food, as can lead to obesity and health problems. And again, this isn't wrong, but it's not right either, because the only food they've talked about here is hay, and hay needs to be available to them at all times. And it's really important because it keeps their digestive system going. It helps their teeth stay at the right length. I can't speak. It helps their teeth stay at the right length because rabbits' teeth consistently grow, or constantly grow. They don't ever stop, so they need to grind it down. It just, honestly, none of this really makes much sense. Again, it says here, that's good, that's got on here. Bad for rabbits for cereal type foods and muesli, that's good advice. Remember, when giving your food, give them what they're used to and nothing containing cereal or muesli, that's alright. Again, entirely incorrect advice. A water bottle is more suitable than a water bowl, as a bowl can get quite messy. No. It's just like, we've already gone over this. No, it's not right. Honestly, this Jolly's website, it makes me mad. It really, really does. This is the same advice that they offer on the infographic in Pets at Home. Let me have a look in here and see what they say about hutch spaces. It's called a hutch is not enough. This is about outdoor rabbits, but it has a little bit in here about indoor rabbits as well. So let's see, does it have anything about the 3 hop rule in here? No. Shelter and exercise. You should never keep your rabbits in a hutch permanently. They need daily exercise and be able to choose when they rest or play. Rabbits are, and I can't say this word, crepuscular, so meaning they're most active at dusk and dawn, traditionally when we will have locked them up for the night, so it's important that their whole area is safe so they can follow their own body clock. They should have a permanent living area of 10 foot by 6 foot by 2 foot high as an absolute minimum. If you can't do this, make an area as big as possible, attach to the hutch or shed, make sure that it's secure from predators. Oh, here's a hop thing here. The bare minimum is 8 foot by 6 foot. Although this might sound big, it's only really 4 hops for most rabbits. So maybe that's where it comes from. That's still 4 hops, not 3. And then later on, if you have indoor rabbits, an area of 6 by 10 can be provided by using puppy panels. Indoor cages are only suitable to hold litter and a hay rack, and should never be the sole or main accommodation for any rabbit. They do not offer a hiding place like a traditional hut, so provide your rabbits with a bolt hole where they can find safe. Yeah, I don't know where this 3 hops comes from. I mean, even in here, when it says the 4 hops, you know, and it's saying like by the 8 foot by 6 foot, even that, it's saying that's really on like the bare minimum. It's still too small. So, okay, whatever, that's fine. Let's move on from that. This bit, again, can be quite dangerous advice, back down here. Like humans, rabbits do not like being cold, so it might be worth providing with extra bedding in the winter or bringing the hutch inside for an inside space. The reason why I say this is dangerous, bringing your rabbits inside is absolutely fine if that's what you want to do. but it has to be done around about September time. The reason for this is that sort of from about September to the end of November is when their coats change. If you have your rabbit outside right up until the first frost, they will already have their winter coat, meaning if you bring them inside, they will likely overheat. Rabbits don't have the ability to sweat, which is what humans have to cool ourselves down. Because they don't have that ability and they can't take off their fur, obviously, it just gets very, very warm and very, very uncomfortable for them. Providing them with extra bedding, hot water bottles, or sort of hutch warming pads, absolutely fine, as long as they have the option to get away from that as well if they wish. But you have to decide in September whether you're going to have an indoor rabbit or an outdoor rabbit. You can't leave it till the winter, so you can't wait until it gets cold, because it's just not good enough for the rabbit. In the same way that if you have decided to keep your rabbit outside, they have to stay outside. You can't bring them into play during the day and then put them back out at night. Their body can't cope with that dramatic change of temperature. But let's move on. I'm just gonna go on Jolly's because on Pets at Home I will pop a couple of pictures in. If we go onto their section here, which is sort of just the rabbit section of their shop. So straight away when we're on here, we come up with a few issues. So Johnson's Harvest Munch. Munch contains seeds, nuts, cereals and vegetables. It literally on their own website says that you shouldn't feed them anything with cereals in. For rabbits, guinea pigs, etc. It's got a big picture of a rabbit there, so any new rabbit owner will go, oh, that looks great. They can't digest seeds. They can't digest nuts or cereals, and it literally says that on their own website. Sorry, I get really mad about this. We're not going to go into water bottles again, you know how I feel about that. Wood shavings, with a picture of a rabbit on the front. Wood shavings are very dusty. Wood shavings, it can cause respiratory problems for rabbits. It's not suitable. The fruit sticks, they're the same as what we spoke about before. Wood shavings. I just can't believe like how expensive these hutches are. Like, people genuinely believe they're doing the right thing because the only information that they have from like these freaking pet shops is a vague amount saying, oh, they need space to run around and they need space to hide, but they don't give specifics, so people don't know. And then you have here people spending like an absolute fortune on accommodation that just isn't suitable, and it's mind-blowing. Milk drops. Rabbits can't digest dairy. This is great bedding. I don't use it myself, I know other people do, and it works well for them. It's fab. It's good for like litter trays. I've used in the past pine pellets. I've switched now to a horse bedding called Megazorb, and it's just like it's pulp, it's wood pulp, and that works really well. I think that's actually the best one that I've had so far. I find it copes with the smell really well. It soaks up a lot more, so Willow's feet don't get really stained when using that one, which they did with the wood pellets. And it's also ridiculously cheap. I think I paid £13 for 80 litres. The wood pellets were about £7 for 30 litres, so still it's a cheap option if you wanted to go down that route. Again, yogurt drops, can't do that. Chocolate drops, like why would you even encourage it? They can't eat corn either. So now moving on from Jolly's, because they've just wound me up now and I don't want to deal with them anymore. But I'm going to show you the pictures from Pets at Home today. So I'm going to put this picture up here of their treats, and I've put a cross over the treats that aren't suitable. And as you can see, that's a really, really large amount. Pets at home are generally better, but they're still not without faults. So when you're looking for treats, have them be like hay based. You can have things like, you know, dried fruit and whatever, but just be aware that with fruit, has a lot of fructose in it, which is junk food for them. So you just want to be making sure they really, really are treated as treats. I personally now just make my own treats for them, and it's literally, I take some hay, some pellets like a banana, a little bit of oats, some water, put it in my food processor until it's like a puree. I then drain out all the water and pop it in the oven on a low temperature for like half an hour, and then just cut it up and make those and give that to them as treats, because then at least you know what's going into it. The next part is obviously these are the hutches in Pets at Home. We've gone over it already, I'm not gonna go into that spiel again. And these are the toys that they had at Pets at Home. With these toys, the thing that you need to be cautious of are at the bottom there, you can see they have like a bridge and a carrot, and they are made out of compressed wood shavings and dyes. Rabbits chew on everything, and if they chew on this, they can become very, very sick, and it can cause blockages within their system. And that's the same reason why they can't have seeds and corn and things like that, because they just can't digest it and just stays in their gut. There have been a lot of rabbits who have actually passed after having these toys, and it's a really easy mistake to make. I bought these for Jasper when I first got him, and then I realised just how awful they were. It's just such an easy mistake to make, which is why I'm making this video. Things that you want as toys are things like the willow balls are great, untreated wood toys. My two really like the plastic cat balls with the bell in. They like picking it up and throwing it around. You can also get these little balls that you can put their pellets into, and then they can push that around with their nose, and that's a great toy for them as well. A lot of rabbits like the stacking cups, and they like playing with that. Or you can get them, I think they're called snuffle blankets, and I've got that for one of mine. I've got one of those for mine, which again works really, really well as a toy for them. So my main point of this is you have to be really, really careful when it comes to using pet shops as your main source of information. With advice, if you want to get advice online, the best place to go is the RWAF. They have everything you could possibly ask for. If you did this, I believe you can actually download this for free on their website, but all of this information is on the website anyway, and it's great. It's got all sorts of information about like how long they live, about how you need to vaccinate them to keep them safe, how to keep them safe outside, making sure that you've got the right setup. It's got information here about how to litter train them, what houseplants you need to watch out for, everything. And so all of this information is on their website. I hope this has been useful. I'm sorry that I've rambled on so much, but if you have any suggestions, please pop them down in the comments below. I also just want to say a massive thank you to the people who have subscribed. I know there's only about 5 of you, and it's a bit silly to thank, but it really does mean a lot to me. I am brand new at this, and even one subscriber is amazing for me. So thank you so much, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Happy New Year, guys. Bye.